Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Jnānatimirandasya Jnānanjana Shalakya Chakshurmritanena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Savitam Yena Bhutale Sarvabhakalamayam Dhati Swamlikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gopal. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We'd like to welcome everyone present on this Sunday evening program. And we also want to thank all of you for enthusiastically participating in the Rath Yatra yesterday. How many of you participated in the Rath Yatra yesterday? And special thanks to the Festival of India headed by Madhava Prabhu. They are rendering valuable service in traveling across North America and doing these festivals. And special thanks to Kripanidhi Prabhu. He came down from Sharanagati to lead Kirtan. And Janardhan Maharaj also led Kirtan. So, the Rath Yatra festival is a very ancient festival. And as you may have heard, in the Rath Yatra festival, we actually take Krishna from Kurukshetra to Vrindavan. The Lord departed for Dwarka, and Radharani and the gopis were very sad. The Lord has departed for Dwarka. For us in our conditioned stage, to visualize or analyze the deep affection that the gopis and Radharani had for the Lord is inconceivable. So the gopis and Radharani were suffering in separation, but then they heard that the Lord was coming to Kurukshetra. Everyone knows where Kurukshetra is? Kurukshetra is the holy place where the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. And you'll be pleased to know that under Prabhupada's direction, we are building a temple over there right now. Which we hope to complete in 2 years. So, on the occasion of solar eclipse, Krishna came down from Dwarka to Kurukshetra, and Radharani and the gopis came from Vrindavan to Kurukshetra. They saw that the Lord was dressed more like a king and not like a cowherd boy that they were used to seeing the Lord. So they begged the Lord, please, we are happy to see you in Vrindavan. We would like to see you as a cowherd boy. So they took the Lord mentally on a chariot from Kurukshetra to Vrindavan. So Lord Jagannath is Lord of the universe, and the Lord appears in different forms, always to establish Dharma. This Rath Yatra festival is a very ancient festival, and thousands of years ago, in Satyuga there was a king called King Indradumna. I'll just give you a nutshell presentation. The story is quite long, and there are many versions of the story. So King Indradumna was a very God-conscious king. All day he would be meditating on serving the Lord. And his only desire was to increase his service to the Lord. One day, when he was in an assembly of Brahmanas, one Brahmin sage walked into his palace and said, "O king, there is a form of the Lord that is self-manifested. And that form is so beautiful. If you ever get a chance to see it, it will satisfy all your desires." According to our Vedic version, God appears in his Archa Vigraha form. This Archa Vigraha is not different from the Lord. Many people, unfortunately, especially the impersonalists, they try to limit God. In what sense? They'll say, God has no form. How can God have a form? This murti is made of marble or wood or brass. How can you people say it's God? Well, the Vedic explanation is, God is achintya, inconceivable, and he can appear in any form. And when the deity of the Lord is installed at the request of the Acharya and installed according to Vedic mantras, then God personally enters into that deity. And that is God, not different from the Lord. We have so many nice stories. There's a story that once there was a rich Brahmin who was doing a pilgrimage over Vrindavan. And as he was doing the pilgrimage, he got exhausted and he fell sick. A young Brahmin helped him complete the parikrama. The old Brahmin was very indebted to him. He said, "You saved my life. You made it possible for me to do the parikrama. Please ask me for any favor that I can do." The young poor Brahmin said, "Sir, it's a Brahmin's duty to serve. And I really don't want anything from you. I did my duty." No. I must do something for you. Please ask me for something." So the poor Brahmin said, "Okay, whatever you do that. I'm going to marry my daughter in marriage to you." The poor Brahmin said, "Sir, you are an aristocrat. I'm a pauper. Family members, and I'm going to agree to let you marry me. Let your daughter marry me." But the rich man persisted. "No, in my house, whatever I say, that gets carried." So the rich man, when he returned home, he told his family he was in a pilgrimage. He almost collapsed, and he was assisted by this poor Brahmin, and he has promised his wife and his daughter in marriage to him. The wife said, "Marry my daughter to a poor Brahmin? Impossible." And she said, "I'll commit suicide." And his son expressed a similar sentiment. Then the old Brahmin had said, in 1 month he'll make this arrangement. The 1 month passed. The Brahmin didn't hear anything. The young Brahmin came to the king and said, "Sir, remember your promise?" He said, in 1 month you'll arrange this marriage. The old Brahmin was in a dilemma. He pleaded with his son and daughter, wife. They did not agree. They kept quiet. But his older son said, "Why are you trying to cheat my father? You robbed my father when he was on his pilgrimage. And obviously he promised my sister marriage. Anyway, the dialogue went on. Finally he said, do you have any proof that my father promised my sisters in marriage? And the poor Brahmin said, yes, I have proof. What's your proof? He promised it in front of the deity of Gopal. So the deity of Gopal was in Vrindavan. So I can get my deity to testify. And the rich man's son said, okay, agree. We get your deity to testify, I'll agree to the marriage. What he was thinking was, the deity was a brass marble deity. How is the deity going to testify? That is just a patthar ka murti, stone. So the young Brahmin raced back to the deity of Gopal and said, my lord, my reputation is at stake. They are accusing me of drugging the man up. I have a request. Please testify that the old Brahmin promised his daughter in marriage on his own. And the deity said, you want me to testify? I can't walk. How will I walk from Vrindavan to Puri? And the young Brahmin said, my dear Lord, if you can talk, you can also walk. And then the Lord agreed to test. And the Lord testified. So there are many wonderful stories. There's a story about Madhava Puri. He was in the temple of Ramana, and he had a desire to taste the sweet rice that was offered to the Lord, because he was headed for Jagannath Puri to bring sandalwood for the Lord. In India, in the summer season, they apply sandalwood of the deities to cool the deities down. So when he reached this ancient temple of Ramana, he had a desire to taste the sweet rice, so that when he goes back, he can offer something equally good to his deity. But unfortunately, he manifested this desire while the offering was going on. So feeling embarrassed, he departed without tasting the sweet rice. The Lord is in everyone's heart as a Paramatma. You know that? The Lord is in everyone's heart? Okay. The Lord is all pervasive. So what did the Lord do? He stole a cup of sweet rice for his devotee. So that God is inconceivable, and those who believe that God has no form, those who believe that God can't appear in a deity form are in illusion, and they have a limited concept of God. You may be headed for a mountain. Have you all been to the mountain sites ever? So from a distance, you can see the mountain top. You go a little closer, you can see a little bit of variety. And if you go on the top of the mountain, you can see the full variety, isn't it? So similarly, there are different stages of God realization. Impersonal, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So we in our Vaishnava culture follow the personal Bhagavan aspect of God, where we recognize God can be present in any form, and God can eat with his eyes and ears. So this Brahmin told the king, Lord has appeared in a very beautiful form, and this form is known as Nilmada. But beyond that, he didn't give any more information. He disappeared. And there are two types of deities. One is self-manifested, like in India in temples like Tirupati, Nathdwara and all. the deities are considered to be self-manifested, which means they manifested themselves, no one knows when. So the king called all the Brahmanas and asked them, have you heard of a deity by the name of Nilmadhav? And all the Brahmanas said, no, we never heard. We have no idea who this deity is. So the king sent his Brahmanas to every corner of the globe, go house to house, village to village, city to city, town to town, to see if anybody has heard of Nilmadhav. So all these Brahmanas went on a mission to every corner of the globe. And they all came back, sir, we didn't hear about that. We couldn't find any trace. One Brahmin did not come back. What was his name? One Brahmin did not come back. His name was Vidyapati. He said, I must fight this deity. He was more determined than the others. So he stayed out in the forest, and where there was a very low caste tribe, and what was the name of the? And there was another devotee of the Lord Vishvasu who had a daughter. He got married to his daughter because he could see that even though she was from a lower caste, she had great Vedic culture and she was a great devotee. So he stayed on. He noticed one thing, that his father-in-law would go away. He didn't know where. And he would return a day or two later. And when he would return, his body had so much fragrance in it that it appeared that he had come from heaven. So he was very curious. Where does my father-in-law go? So he asked his wife, where does your father go? He goes away, he doesn't come in the night sometimes. And when he comes back, his body has so much fragrance. Initially his wife said, I can't tell you. It's a secret where my father goes. My father, I can't. But the husband persisted. After you're my wife, you can't hide from me. And deep in the end of the forest, there's a deity called Nilmadhav. And my father goes and worships that deity. And he gave the when Vidyapati heard Nilmadhav, he was in ecstasy. He said, Nilmadhav, that's the deity my king asked me to search for. I'm searching for it, I can't find it. So he told his wife to plead with her father, Vishvasu, that he could have darshan, he could take Vidyapati to that location. But when the daughter spoke to her father, my husband wants to go with you and have darshan with Nilmadhav. The father said, no, I can't take anyone there. But she said, he's my husband after all. So so the father agreed on the condition he would blindfold Vidyapati so that he would not know how to reach over there. And he would open the eyes only when they reach the location. So he wouldn't know how to get there. So the wife said, okay, I agreed. But she was smart. She gave some mustard seeds in a small packet. And he dropped on the way. to identify the path later on. So when they reached the location, Vishvasu opened the eyes of Vidyapati, and when he saw Nila Madhav, he was in such ecstasy. He said, "Now I know why my king is eager to have darshan of the deity." And he saw that upon arrival, Vishvasu Vishvasu was engaged in very deep meditative work. He would take flowers from the book and make a garland from the water he gave the Abhishek. He was totally absorbed in serving Nilmadhav. At the same time over there was a small lake, and Vidyapati saw a crow fell in the lake, and the crow assumed a four-handed form and went back to God. So Vidyapati was thinking, "Oh, this is so auspicious, I should jump in the lake and I'll also go back to God." But then the divine voice said, "No, your mission is to report to the king on Nilmadhav." So he went back. As I said, it's a long story, I'm just summarizing it. So he went back to the king and said, "I have found Nilmadhav. I have found Nilmadhav. I'll take you." So the king, with his army, came to that location that was identified by Vidyapati. And when they came to the location, they found there was no Nilmadhav there. Nilmadhav had gone. And the king thought maybe this was a trick on the part of Vishvasu or somebody else. He wanted to have Vishvasu arrested. "Tell me where the deity is." He said, "My Lord, I don't know myself where the deity is gone." And then the divine voice said, "O king, you will not be able to find me. I am now going to appear in a wooden form known as Daru Brahman. I'm going to appear in a wooden form, and there will be a log of wood floating in a particular lake." So the king went back with his army and to that location, and they saw the log of wood. It had on it the markings of the Lord's lotus feet. And the king, along with his whole army, tried to lift the log of wood. And the whole army and the king combined could not move the log even in an inch. The log was so heavy. And then a divine voice said, "King, call Vidyapati and Vishvasu." These were the two devotees who had served the deity of Nilmadhav. When the two devotees came, they easily were able to lift the log of wood, and the log of wood was carried to the palace of the king in a chariot. So the king then invited various sculptors to make a form of the Lord. And many sculptors came. The moment that they would try to do some work, their instruments would break. And the king was again very sad, The king was so keen to see the form of the Lord that he was undergoing great austerities, fasting, just so that he may be able to see the Lord. Then Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma is a sculptor and an architect who makes the houses of demigods. Then Vishwakarma, disguised as an old man, came to the palace of the king. And Vishwakarma said, I will make a form of the Lord, but on one condition. What was that condition? Nobody should interrupt me for 2 weeks. And if anyone interrupts me, then I will withdraw myself. The king said, okay. So Vishwakarma locked the door from inside and started making a form of the Lord. And the king had his ears against the door of the room, and he was hearing tick, 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 which gave him immense pleasure. He was just looking forward for the day when the deity would be manifested. But then he saw that after Vishwakarma for 3 weeks. After 2 weeks he discovered the tick, tick, tick stopped. And the king was in great anxiety. What should I do? The tick, tick has stopped. We didn't supply any food or water to the sculptor. Maybe he's dead. He lived for 2 weeks without any input. The king consulted his wife, whose name was Gundicha. For those of you who've been to Jagannath Puri, we know there's a Gundicha temple there, named after his wife. And the wife said, you should open the door and go inside. Maybe he's dead. And the king then consulted his ministers. And the ministers said, no, don't go in. If you go in, as he said, he would withdraw himself. The king finally accepted the advice of his wife. And he walked in. And he walked in, he saw this form that you see of Jagrata, Sabhadra and Bala. When he initially saw this form, the king was very sad. Because if you look at this form, the deities look a little incomplete. But then Lord Brahma appeared on the scene and said, now, this is the way I want the deity, I want to be worshipped. So this Nilmala became Jagrata, Sabhadra and Bala. So this Rath Yatra festival is a very ancient festival in which people have the opportunity to pull the Lord, dance for the Lord, sing for the Lord. And it is said that whoever takes part or participates actively, he gets unlimited blessings of the Lord. Prabhupada, when he was young, he was very attached to this Rath Yatra festival. And when he was a small boy, 7, 8 years of age, he would organize a Rath Yatra and he would make a chariot exactly like the Jagannath Puri chariot. This Rath Yatra became so popular. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave a lot of emphasis to Rath Yatra. Lord Chaitanya had instructed his followers to go and preach, Jai Gaura Sei Kṛṣṇa. Wherever you see, tell him about Krishna. But for Rath Yatra, all his devotees would come back. And the Lord would organize 8 kirtan parties. And these, of course, you have the sound system. So the sound system can do the work of 10 kirtan parties. But he would, those days there was no sound system. He would organize 8 kirtan parties with each chariot. Your Rath Yatra in Calgary is 1 Rath or 3 Raths? The Festival of India is generally 3 chariots, no? 1. In Toronto, the Rath Yatra, there are 3 chariots. Yeah. So in Jagannath Puri, usually they have 3 chariots. So he would organize 8 parties with each chariot. So there was a king called King Prataparudra. He was a great devotee of the Lord. Earlier, he had requested to have an audience with the Lord. And the Lord said, "No, I can't associate with worldly-minded people." But the king, on the occasion of Rath Yatra, prior to the commencement of the Rath Yatra, he took a golden broom and swept the whole road. And then he washed the road with scented water. The Lord was so pleased to see, here is a king doing the job of a sweeper. Normally, who cleans the road? The sweeper, isn't it? Here was a king who did the job of a sweeper, swept the road on which the Lord was going to move, and washed it. And what did the Lord do? He was very pleased by his humility. The Lord gave him special benediction. God, when He appears, He performs superhuman activities. In today's civilization, we often meet people who say, "I am God, He is Avatar." But a genuine Avatar displays superhuman activities, not ordinary activities. Lord Chaitanya, being none else than the Pada Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, Radha and Krishna appeared at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He also displayed many transcendental and inconceivable bhasana. We don't have time to discuss them. So the Lord was very pleased with the king. And the Lord was simultaneously dancing in 8 parties, all the 8 parties himself. He expanded himself, and he was present in every party. And every party was saying, "Oh, I'm so lucky, the Lord is dancing in my party." But this vision that the Lord was present in all the parties was realized by only few devotees, and one of them was King Prataparudra. So the moral of the story is, the Lord is pleased when we are humble on the devotional path. On the devotional path, humility is a virtue, an asset, and not a liability. There are many Hindu temples all over America, Canada, and in India. But ISKCON is preaching the path of pure devotional service, because this is the conclusion of the scriptures. Bhaktyam mama vijayanti. I can only be known by the path of pure devotional service. But generally, those people come to our temples, those who are attracted to the path of pure devotion. Ultimately, it is only pure devotional service that can attract, that can give us real satisfaction. So in the material world, we're all trying to be happy. Is that true or false? Do all of you want happiness?
Yes.
Real happiness or false happiness? Yes. Yesterday we were lecturing on a verse from the 7th canto, 14th chapter in Vancouver. And in the verse, a sage said, Real happiness is spiritual happiness. That is real happiness. So these days, you hear a lot about fake news, am I right? Thanks to Mr. Trump. Nobody heard that before, but he's polarized the country. So yeah, real news and fake news. So there's similarly real happiness and fake happiness. Fake happiness means I drink, I smoke, I socialize, and I think that these are the avenues for real happiness. But these may give you happiness today, but tomorrow they'll give you pain. Real happiness means what? I become happy because I'm engaged in service to the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, Krishna talks about 3 types of happiness. Happiness in goodness, happiness in passion, happiness in ignorance. Are you aware of that? How many of you are aware of that? So Krishna defines happiness and goodness as happiness and goodness is bitter in the beginning, sweet in the end, and it wakes you up to self-realization. And happiness and passion is sweet in the beginning, bitter in the end, which is derived of contact of the senses with sense object. And happiness and passion is from beginning to end based on laziness, inaction, etc. So why is happiness and goodness better in the beginning and sweet in the end? Who knows why? In the audience?
Vidya. Because of avidya.
Why is happiness and goodness bitter in the beginning, sweet in the end? No one knows? Yes.
Maybe because of past karmas.
Okay, I'll take one more answer. Yes, Kṛṣṇa. Yes.
It requires tapasya in the beginning.
In the beginning, when you are requested, please chant Hare Krishna, the material mind says, oh, chant Hare Krishna. What will happen to my prajalpa? What will happen to my mundane music and all that? Because there are only 24 hours in a day. So if you're going to find time to serve the Lord, you have to withdraw from somewhere else. It's not that time is stretchable. It's not that if you become a devotee, you have 28 hours in a day, 24 hours for normal and nonsense, and 4 hours for devotion. So in the beginning when you're told, please follow the 4 regulated principles that we talk about, it's painful. Sometimes people tell me, oh, what's the use of living if you can't have these, if you follow the 4 rules? So in the beginning it is painful. But then when you chant, you get satisfaction, happiness, pleasure, and you distance yourself from distress. By and large today, the whole society is full of distress. Is that right or wrong? How many of you feel, looking at your faces, I can see you all look like Brahmanas. Brahmanas are generally honest. How many of you feel, how many of you have peace of mind? How many of you would like to have peace of mind? Okay. So you're shopping for peace of mind. That's okay. We want people to shop for peace of mind. So, and in society, they're trying to be as liberal as can. Just like now, I don't know, in Alberta, but at least in BC, you can buy marijuana in the market. You know that? Alberta also. This is called liberalism. You know what the modern day definition of liberalism is? Recognize gays, recognize lesbians, recognize the use of drugs, etc. So they have liberalized drugs and so on. When our spiritual master first came to America, those days the drug culture was quite strong, as today. So usually people take drugs, stay high for 6 to 7 hours. That's the maximum what the drug has influence. Then they come back to normal. So the devotees said, they made a big poster, chant Hare Krishna and stay high forever. So, if you turn to marijuana and all these other products, they make you feel high for a limited period. But then you have to bounce back to the ground realities and face the miseries in our life. Whereas, if you take shelter of Krishna, then you can experience real happiness. And how do you experience real happiness? One medium is chanting the names of the Lord. We chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, as all of you know. Often people say, you chant the same name day and night. Don't you get tired? Are you people brainwashed? No, we don't get tired. Are we brainwashed? No. We're trying to clean the brainwashing. So Prabhupada once gave us a story in response to this accusation. He said once there was a deaf husband. He was telling his wife, come here, come here. She was cooking in the kitchen. He said, I'm coming, I'm coming. But he was deaf, he couldn't hear. So finally he said, are you deaf? You can't hear, I'm calling you. But actually he was deaf. So we're all brainwashed by the media, by the society we live in, by the social environment. And when we chant, what do? We are cleansing and removing the dirt. So this chanting process is not a recent invention. This chanting process is a very ancient process of finding true happiness. And we request everyone, take to this chanting process. Yesterday, how long was the Rath Yatra for? So,
The parade was total 6
the Rath Yatra, you know, I'm used to these Indian Rath Yatras, and the Indian Rath Yatras go for 6 to 8 hours.
hours or 6 hours.
We have a Rath Yatra in Ludhiana that goes on at nearly 12 o'clock in the night. It starts at 3. So, I find the Rath Yatras in the West to be mini Rath Yatras. Even in Russia we have these Rath Yatras. Today you'll be pleased to know they have the Rath Yatra celebration on every corner of the globe. In the Iraq War, during the period of the Iraq War, we had an American devotee serving in the US Army. And he organized a Rath Yatra in the war period inside the stadium. So, this Rath Yatra is a very ancient festival. And Prabhupada wanted this to be followed. So this chanting of the holy name is our most important asset. And if you want real happiness, this is the path. Now, unfortunately, people are used to being cheated. As this Prabhupada used to say, it's a world of cheaters and cheated. People are ready to cheat and people are ready to be cheated. We don't charge anything. Recently there was a famous speaker from India speaking in Moscow. It was only last month. And people were paying $500 a ticket to hear him. So Prabhupada gave the real thing free. Sometimes when you give something free, people undervalue it. So this chanting of the holy name can be done by everyone. And this chanting, what does it do? Cheta Darpan Marjanam. Cleanses the heart Our heart is heavily contaminated. What is it contaminated with? Lust, anger, greed. Are people in Calgary greedy or no? Yeah? Are they greedy? You're not from Calgary, are you?
No, US.
Okay, any Calgary? Are people greedy here? Okay, lust, anger, greed, envy. All this gets removed by chanting. And as the Lord says, so we want you to experience real happiness, not fake happiness that drugs or something will give you. We want you to be addicted to chanting. People get devoted into so many activities. All of you heard about the World Cup in Russia? Yeah? It just got concluded last week, isn't it? Oh, you all didn't read about the World Cup? Oh, you all are too shy. Okay, you know there's a World Cup. Wherever I went in America, everywhere, all I saw on TV was World Cup. So, it's very interesting what I'm reading to. Believe it or not, over 30,000 people flew from India to see the World Cup. More than 30,000 people. They spent a fortune in flying to see the World Cup. And the highlight was, these World Cup organizers, they also have a fan list. It means who has attended how many World Cups. And there's one man who is 92 years old, who is a world record holder on having seen the most World Cups. He's a world record holder. And believe it or not, that man was an Indian. So, when the World Cup was about to start, he was given a VIP reception at the airport. The whole media was there to take his pictures and flash and record those. But one good thing he did was, he said, I want to go to the Hare Krishna temple in Moscow. So he came to have darshan in the Hare Krishna temple, and the whole media came with him. And next to all the papers, the top World Cup fan goes to the Hare Krishna temple. So then he was asked, what is your next ambition in life? He's already 92 years old. He said, I want to live to see the next World Cup, which was 5 years down the road. So, this is one part of illusion. Rather than worrying about how to prepare for next life, they are meditating when we're going to see the next World Cup. So we want to see the next World Cup, we want to see the next cricket match, we want to see the next movie. But all these attachments or attractions are not going to give you real happiness. If you want real happiness, chant the Hare Krishna mantra every day and read the Bhagavad Gita. How many of you have a copy of the Bhagavad Gita as it is? Almost everyone. Next question. The answer to this question was 100%. So I said you all are Brahmins. Next question. How many of you read the Gita every day? Okay. Now the response is down to 5 or 10%. So, if you want peace of mind, share the holy name and read the Bhagavad Gita every day. Read at least one verse a day, along with the purport. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON, translated nearly 100 books, Vedic texts into English. And these are now available in almost every major language of the world. And people all over the world are reading these books and pursuing their life. I think in the audience here we have many devotees from Russia also. Skolka Ruski Pyramid. How many Russian? Okay. So, this Krishna consciousness is being practiced in every corner of the world. And try and come to the temple every Sunday. Prabhupada started this Sunday feast. Prabhupada opened the first temple in New York, and he started the Sunday feast because Prabhupada knew a day would come when most of the devotees would be living at home. So the Sunday program is a great opportunity for you to come and get purified and experience happiness. You see the deities, you participate in the chanting, dancing, and then what do you get after that? Feasting. Sometimes people tell me, on Sundays we close our kitchen, it's a holiday for everyone. So I say, very good. What do? We go to the Hare Krishna temple for prasad. It doesn't matter what the motive is. Some people come for philosophy, some come for darshan of the deities, some come to have prasad because they can close the kitchen at home. Doesn't matter what the reason is. Come to the temple. Krishna says, people come to me due to 4 factors. One who is in distress, one who wants money, but money you people don't want. No? Do you all want money or you don't want money? No answer. That means you all don't want money. But Krishna says, even if you want wealth, come to me. If you are in distress, come to me. If you are a genuine seeker of knowledge, come to me. If you are curious, come to me. Come to me regardless of what your motives are. And if you come to me, you will progress towards perfection. So thank you very much. We are very grateful that all of you are coming to the temple. How many people in this audience are Calgary based? So a special appeal to the Calgary based devotees. Come to the Calgary temple. I understand some devotees here from the Edmonton temple. They should go to the Edmonton temple. Wherever you reside, try and find time for spiritual activities. That will give you peace of mind. And that will give you real happiness. That is real pleasure. Please endeavor to be happy. Prabhupada used to say, you take 1 step towards Krishna, Krishna will take 10 steps towards you. So make an effort. As you know in English they say, God helps those who help themselves. So if you help yourself, Krishna will help you. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Okay, yes. Panditi. Panditi is a very senior Prabhupada disciple, served in India for a long time, based in Sharanagati. Yes.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for this wonderful class. Maharaj Prabhupada was a very wealthy man. Somehow he was blessed by Lord Chaitanya. So how can you recognize a devotee? Suppose he's a real devotee. He might be wealthy, might be poor. What's the criterion
for recognizing who the devotee?
A good devotee, yeah. Because some people may say, Maharaj Prabhupada is so wealthy, how can he be a good devotee?
Who says wealthy people can't be devotees? We have samples even now of wealthy people who are good devotees. Krishna doesn't say in the Gita, if you have wealth, you can't come to me. One of our most famous devotees is Amrish Ford. He's a very good devotee. So, wealth is no bar.